Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to fight U.S. sanctions that are reportedly going to be imposed on Israeli forces. Netanyahu said he will fight the sanctions with all his strength. The remarks come after reports emerged that Washington is planning to impose sanctions on Israel's Netzah Yehuda battalion. The unit is under the scanner over its human rights violations in the occupied West Bank. Meanwhile, Israel is intensifying its military operations in Gaza. The Israeli military conducted overnight strikes in Rafah city. According to Palestinian health officials, the attack killed 22 people, including 18 children. The strike victims included a 30-week pregnant woman whose baby was saved by doctors after she died in the attack. Israel's state attorney has indicted the sister of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Sabah Al-Salem Haniyeh has been charged with incitement and showing solidarity with a terror group for allegedly praising Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. The 57-year-old has been held in custody since her arrest on April 1st. According to the Iraqi security forces, rockets have been fired at a northeastern Syrian military base housing American soldiers. At least 5 rockets were fired at the US-led coalition's Karab al-Jir base. The rockets were fired from northern Iraq's Zumar town. Iraqi security forces said that the rockets were fired by outlaw elements and that they have found the vehicle used in the attack in Iraq's northern Nineveh province. Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has thanked his country's armed forces for their attack on Israel. The Iranian media has reported that Khamenei told the armed forces that Iran had demonstrated its power regardless of how many targets were hit. Iran launched a barrage of more than 300 missiles and drones on Israel earlier this month. The attack was in retaliation for Israel's suspected strike on the Iranian embassy compound in Syria's capital, Damascus. Meanwhile, Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi has arrived in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, for a 3-day official visit. During the trip, Raisi will meet Pakistan's President and Prime Minister. Raisi is also scheduled to meet the chairman of the country's Senate and Speaker of their National Assembly. The visit will focus on bilateral trade ties between Pakistan and Iran. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed a $95 billion package offering security assistance to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The bill has now advanced to the U.S. Senate for a vote. The legislation allocates almost $61 billion to address the Ukrainian conflict. $26 billion has been allocated for Israel, including over $9 billion for humanitarian needs. About $8 billion have been approved for the Indo-Pacific region, including Taiwan. In the Maldives, President Mohamed Muissu's party has won a landslide victory in Sunday's parliamentary election. The provisional results show Muissu's People's National Congress has won 66 seats in the 93-member House. The main opposition, the Maldivian Democratic Party, which earlier had a majority of the seats in parliament, has only managed to win 15 seats this time round. The election was seen as a test for Muissu's anti-India policy. In Japan, 2 military helicopters crashed in the Pacific Ocean, killing at least 1 person. According to Japan's defense minister, the helicopters had 8 crew members aboard. 1 crew member who died was recovered from the water. The search and rescue mission for the remaining 7 is still underway. Japanese authorities say that the 2 helicopters were flying for training and likely collided with each other. Ecuador has voted in favor of a national referendum regarding security measures. The referendum has been proposed by President Daniel Noboa. It aims to address increasing violence caused by organized crime. The security measures include actions like combined police and military patrols, the extradition of wanted criminals, and harsher penalties for crimes such as terrorism and murder. Ecuador's president is trying to combat crime linked to drug trafficking gangs. Last year, Ecuador was dubbed as one of the most violent South American nations. In Niger, hundreds of people protested in the city of Agadez. They were protesting against the presence of the U.S. military in their country. The protesters marched through Agadez, where American forces have 2 military bases. This includes a drone base known as Airbase 201, built at a cost of more than $100 million. At least 1,100 American soldiers were deployed in Niger last year. Thousands of people were protesting in Spain's Canary Islands over the issue of mass tourism. The demonstrators want the Spanish government to put a limit on the number of tourists that come to the island. They say that the island is being overwhelmed by the number of tourists that come every year, and a limit will relieve pressure on the environment and infrastructure. On to climate news. On April 22nd, the world marks Earth Day, which is known as International Mother Earth Day as well. This year, the theme of Earth Day is a planet versus plastics. In South Korea, environmentalists organized a fashion show to display plastic waste. In Mexico, people participated in a traditional dance, which is seen as an offering to Mother Earth. In Malaysia, volunteers participated in a beach cleanup campaign. Heavy rain in China's Guangdong province has caused flooding and landslides. At least 3 people were reported dead and 6 are injured. More than 700 school students were stranded in their dormitories and then they were rescued by emergency workers. The villages and farmland were inundated with water from swollen water bodies. The Guangdong region is home to approximately 127 million people. According to Pakistan's Disaster Management Authority, at least 69 people have died after heavy rain and snowfall triggered severe flooding in the country. Dozens have also suffered injuries from lightning strikes and collapsed buildings. Several roads were swept away by floodwaters in northern Pakistan. A new desalination plant has been installed in southern Iraq's Basra Governorate. This is to help residents and agricultural sector workers tackle water scarcity. Desalination is the process of removing salts and minerals from the water. Iraq has been struggling with water shortages due to temperature increases and pollution. The U.S. state of South Carolina was hit by a storm on Sunday. The storm caused significant damage. The winds uprooted trees and damaged cars and houses. Authorities have issued a warning of strong winds and hail during the storm. According to the European Union and the World Meteorological Organization, Europe is experiencing intense heat which the human body cannot cope with. Due to the extreme heat in July last year, at least 41% of southern Europe was pushed into extreme heat stress. That refers to the impact the environment has on the human body via factors like temperature and humidity. Negotiators from 175 countries will be meeting in Canada to finalize a global treaty to end plastic pollution. The meeting will be on April 23rd, and it comes 5 months after a discussion in Kenya. The treaty will target plastics found in mountains, water bodies, and even human blood. According to a new report, out of the world's 100 largest private firms, only 40 have set net zero carbon emission targets. This is because of a lack of market and reputational pressure and regulations on the companies. The report states that all the companies will have to reduce their planet heating emissions for the world to limit global warming. On to business and tech news. U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo has claimed that the chip used in the Chinese smartphone Huawei Mate 60 Pro is not as advanced as American chips. Washington says that this is proof that the U.S. restrictions on China are working. The Chinese firm Huawei has been barred from receiving advanced technologies from American companies since 2019. However, last year, Huawei released its latest smartphone, the Mate 60 Pro. It claims to have a chip with advanced capabilities. Chinese social media app TikTok has once again repeated its concerns over free speech in the U.S. This was after the U.S. lower house passed a bill that could impose a total ban on the app in the country. if this will happen if TikTok's Chinese parent firm ByteDance does not sell it within a year. TikTok has said that the bill tramples free speech for its 170 million American users. Meanwhile, TikTok is reportedly planning to remove a key executive in the US, Eric Anderson. Anderson is the US General Counsel for TikTok and ByteDance. He was hired to convince the US government that TikTok's China links don't pose any national security risks for the US. American software maker Salesforce has reportedly abandoned its bid to take over the data management firm Informatica. This was after the two firms could not agree to the terms of the deal. It was expected to be one of the largest acquisition deals for Salesforce. The US-based company Informatica provides data management services to other businesses. Malaysia is planning to build Southeast Asia's largest integrated circuit design park. The park is expected to house global tech firms that design semiconductor chips for electronics. It will be located in the country's central state of Selangor. To attract global tech firms to the park, Malaysia plans to offer incentives like lower taxes, subsidies, and visa fee exemptions. Chinese electric vehicle maker BYD has revealed the details of its upcoming electric pickup truck, the BYD Shark. The truck will feature a plug-in hybrid system called Dual Mode Off-Road. The firm claims that the system will improve the driving experience on rough roads. The launch date of the electric pickup truck has not been announced yet. Meanwhile, electric car maker Tesla has lowered its car prices in parts of Europe, China, and West Asia. In China and Germany, the Model 3 car prices have been reduced by nearly $2,000. This comes as the firm has been dealing with slowing sales. Last week, Tesla also reduced car prices in the US. Swiss banking giant UBS will reportedly begin its mass layoff plan from June this year. These layoffs are expected to take place in 5 phases. Last year, the firm had announced plans to reduce up to 35,000 jobs globally to save money. This was after the firm took over its rival Credit Suisse. The job cuts are expected to primarily impact former Credit Suisse employees. Canadian factory workers of the plane maker Airbus have once again rejected a wage proposal put forward by the firm. The deal proposed to hike worker pay by over 20% in the next 5 years. Yesterday, most factory workers voted against the proposal. The workers have already rejected 2 wage deals proposed by Airbus. Namibia's Mopane oil field could have perhaps 10 billion barrels of oil. This is according to the Portuguese oil firm Galp. This is expected to make Mopane a significant commercial oil field. Mopane is located in the Orange Basin along the coast of Namibia. Earlier this year, Galp had discovered 2 oil wells in the region. Now on to sports news. We begin with cricket and updates from the Indian Premier League. Kolkata Knight Riders have beat Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Bengaluru conceded 222 runs after choosing to field first. KKR batter Phil Salt scored 48 of 14 balls and skipper Shreyas Iyer hit 50. Karan Sharma smashed Mitchell Starc for 3 sixes in the final over of RCB's run chase. Gujarat Titans beat Punjab Super Kings by 3 wickets in a low-scoring affair. Punjab were bowled out for an underwhelming 142 in 20 overs. Opener Prabh Singh was the only one who made a difference with his 35 runs of 21 balls for Punjab. Gujarat finished at 146 for 7 during their innings. Pakistan's Mohammad Rizwan became the fastest batter to reach 3,000 T20 international runs. The milestone came during the second match against New Zealand in Rawalpindi. This was Rizwan's 79th T20 innings. He has now beaten Babar Azam and Indian great Virat Kohli, who both completed 3,000 runs in 81 T20 international innings. In football, Manchester United survived a scare from Coventry City in the second FA Cup semi-final. Coventry City came back from 3-0 down to level and forced the game into extra time. Rasmus Holland scored the decisive penalty kick. United then defeated Coventry 4-2 on penalties. Real Madrid beat Barcelona 3-2 in a nail-biter of an El Clasico to go on top at the La Liga. Andres Christensen scored the opener for Barcelona, but a Vinicius Jr. penalty leveled the game at half-time. Barca made it 2-1 through Fermin Lopez, and Real equalized again in the 73rd minute with Lucas Vazquez. Jude Bellingham smashed a late winner for Real Madrid. In tennis, Casper Ruud of Norway has earned the biggest tournament victory of his career. He clinched the Barcelona men's singles title. Ruud beat Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece 7-5, 6-3 in the final to lift the trophy. Meanwhile, women's world number 4 Elena Rybakina captured the Stuttgart Open title. She defeated world number 27 Marta Kostyuk 6-2, 6-2 in the final. This is her third title in 2024 after the Abu Dhabi Open and the Brisbane International. Simona Halep has pulled out of next week's Madrid Open. She took to social media to announce that her body needs more time to get ready. The former world number 1 was suspended in October 2022. Halep was out of action for over 18 months due to a prolonged doping ban row. In Formula One, it was yet another display of Red Bull's sheer dominance at the Chinese Grand Prix. The star racer and 3-time world champion Max Verstappen cruised to victory. It was his 4th Grand Prix title this season. McLaren's Lando Norris came second, and Red Bull's Sergio Perez finished third. In chess, India's D. Gukesh has become the youngest winner of the FIDE Candidates Tournament. He held off the USA's Hikaru Nakamura to draw in the final round. However, since Gukesh had accumulated more points over the tournament, he was declared the winner. Gukesh has now qualified for the World Champion Finals. Former English footballer David Beckham has sued Hollywood actor Mark Wahlberg for nearly $16.5 million. The lawsuit claims that the actor duped the footballer into working with a training company. But Beckham lost at least $16 million when stocks that he was promised were withheld. Mark Wahlberg denies all these claims. The dystopian thriller Civil War has retained its top spot at the North American box office. The film collected approximately $11.12 million in its second week after release. Now, the film's global box office collection stands at about $49 million. Civil War was released on April 12th. Meanwhile, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire grossed $485 million at the global box office, with Kung Fu Panda 4 inching towards the $500 million mark. Timothée Chalamet's Dune Part 2 will soon end its run with at least $700 million. The makers of Deadpool and Wolverine have released their teaser. The video shows an emotional conversation between the two characters, Deadpool and Wolverine. The makers of the film are urging fans not to call it Deadpool 3. The film will release on the 26th of July. Meanwhile, South Korean boy band 17's upcoming album has already crossed $3 million in pre-orders. This was announced by the album's distributor. The album 17 Is Right Here will release on April 29th. It'll feature the group's past hits and 4 new songs. Meanwhile, the South Korean girl group aespa have announced their comeback. The group will be releasing their first full-length album titled Armageddon. The album will release on the 27th of May. aespa has debuted on November 17th, 2020. New music from American rapper Ice Spice is on the way. The rapper took to social media to announce the release of a new single. She posted a pre-save link on social media as well. The song, titled Gimme a Light, will be released on May 10th. Meanwhile, the legendary British girl band Spice Girls reunited at Victoria Beckham's birthday party over the weekend. The band took to the dance floor and reportedly performed their past hits. The Spice Girls perfectly executed the dance steps to their hit number, Stop. Victoria Beckham's party was also attended by Eva Longoria, Mark Antony and Tom Cruise. The musician Morgan Wallen, who was arrested 2 weeks ago, says he is not proud of his behavior. He was arrested in Nashville for throwing a chair from the roof of a 6-story building. He was charged with reckless endangerment and misdemeanors. The singer was released on April 8th on bail. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced the names of the artists who will be inducted this year. The list includes names like Cher, Dionne Warwick and Jimmy Buffett. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the US documents the works of these inductees annually.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.